Hey, this is Doris Dike coming to you from Dike Law Group, wanting to talk today about purchasing or acquiring a medical practice. Now, you might be thinking, that's so down the line for me. I'm just trying to get started. But in your entrepreneurship journey, you will have an opportunity to probably do both. Either be acquired by another business or purchase another business. So first thing that you want to do is, if you're thinking about acquiring another business, is make sure that, one, you think about the funding that you're going to need to source this project. I don't know how many times I've met with small entrepreneurs who are thinking about purchasing a practice or purchasing a larger business, and they don't have a way to acquire funds to make the deal. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but you don't want to risk ruining your reputation with a potential business partner, right? If it's just a one-off, like a one-off clinic, then okay, you don't have the funds. It's no big deal. But if they have a series of other healthcare businesses and you don't come to the table prepared to have the necessary funding to close the deal, you might really sever a relationship with a potential business partner. So number one is making sure you have a way to secure the funds for the acquisition. Number two, it's important that when you are thinking about doing an acquisition, that you prepare to do a deep due diligence of the business that you're trying to acquire. Now, what does that mean? That means that you have an understanding of not just the building, the equipment, the money, and the debt that business has. Now, depending on what type of contract that you and your attorney decide to draft, you might take on some of the liabilities related to that organization, and you need to understand what those liabilities are, right? So that's why you do a deep due diligence of the organization, so that when you decide to buy the business, that you know what you're getting and that you're not surprised. Oftentimes, organizations might decide to acquire certain tax IDs and NPI numbers associated with an organization. That's a judgment call for you, because sometimes when we see that happening, when you take on an organization's Medicare number, you often take the liability associated with the organization. If there's a clawback or if there's any fraud allegations, it's on that number. So that's something that you might think about in the process. Making sure that you have an understanding of who you're doing business with. Are they a good and honest person? You can do all the due diligence and analysis you want, but you don't want to also be surprised by something on the end. So it's important that you know who you're doing business with. Now, you don't have to be their best friend, but if they've been sued a bunch of times, something that you might want to unearth and uncover before you enter into a large business deal with them. Make sure that you have an understanding that closing is closing. So that part where I said making sure you had financing, it's making sure that when you close, that you're able to proffer the financing to the other side, because if you don't, you would be in breach of the contract that you would have signed between the parties. Whether you're signing an asset purchase agreement or a stock purchase agreement, you need to understand that these agreements are long and tedious, and you need to have a good understanding of how to interpret and understand the contractual language that you will have to understand when you get the deal, right? Because not only will you write these contracts, but there will be several transition agreements between the parties to transition services, or you might inherit other contracts that the old company had. So it's important that you have a detailed and thorough lawyer with you throughout the process. You and the person that you're acquiring the business from will be in contact for a while you transition the services onto you, because again, you'll be utilizing a lot of their contracts, a lot of their equipment, a lot of the things, because they were somewhat successful and you're trying to be successful like they were. Now, shifting to, if you're trying to sell your business, This is a very exciting time for you. It's important that you understand that if you're trying to sell your business, that you make yourself an attractive business to sell. The last thing you want is when you sell your business that you have landmines and debts that the other party might not know about, who then no longer want to do business with you. So it's important that you try to clean up your books to the best of your ability to get prepared for a sale. It's important that you are transparent with whoever is trying to purchase your business, because if you're not, you'll be seen like you are committing some type of fraud against the buyer. No buyer wants, again, to be surprised in the acquisition of your business. I feel like that's the main points that we want to talk about today. We will address other issues in the acquisition of a business and the selling of your business in a later video. Thanks so much. Bye.